The condo market is the biggest topic of conversation. If you own a condo, if you don't own a condo, it doesn't even matter. It's the topic of conversation every time I get together with anybody. What's happening with the condos? Why is there so much inventory? How have the prices looked compared to the last couple months? So in today's video, what we're gonna do is we are gonna take Brampton and we're going to take Mississauga, two of the bigger categories of housing in the GTA that are at least being focused on this specific channel. We're going to look at what's happening so far halfway through the month of July. So from the 1st to the 16th, we're going to compare it to last month's numbers, but we're also going to talk about some of the trends that we've seen here on the charts that are going to kind of take us back to July 2023 and see how things have changed, whether it's the price, the active listings, or any of that other data, your days on market, to give us a sense of how far things have come from not quite the peak, but just a few years back when things were already starting to slow down. So the first thing I want to do is rewind time just 16 days. Show us that data from June once again, and we're only going to be talking about Brampton and Mississauga in this video. If you want a Toronto condo breakdown, I'll do one of those separately as well. But numbers here from the June 1st to 30th of June, Brampton's median sale price for a condo was $451,000. Transactions that took place in the whole month were only 22 transactions. 41 days on market was the typical length of time to sell one of these. Your median list price was $517, and your average list price slightly higher at $527. When we're looking at Mississauga, $527 was your median sale price, 43 days on market, and we actually had 122 transactions in Mississauga during that same time span that we talked about, June 1st to 30th. Your list price and sale price were a lot tighter. $569 was that median listing price, and then on the average side of things, $609. Obviously, there's some outliers, some higher ticket condos that are out there. So now that you've seen those numbers, I'll leave it on screen here for a moment. You can always go back to this point in the video, look at those numbers if you want to compare, but I'm going to pop on a live screen recording here for you guys so we can kind of go through and look at some of these charts as well. So from July 1st to July 16th here, what you're going to see is the breakdown. Brampton on the left, location 1. Location 2 is going to be Mississauga on the right. So we'll look at Brampton first. We'll talk about that, and then we'll head over to the Mississauga area here. We can also break it down a little bit further after if we'd like to look at some of those numbers for 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom condos. Depending on the length of this video, if we've got time, I'll do that at the end here as well. So far, we've seen 13 transactions, so we are on pace to actually have more transaction volume in Brampton. That's great. Of course, 48 days on market, so we're about to see a little bit of an increase here compared to the 41 the previous month. Your list and sale price are the same. So listing around $520, sale price is $560 now. Halfway through, we were at $451, so we're not too far off. And when we're looking at some of the numbers here, the ones that are important to me are numbers like above list price. If we see a high above list price, it means a lot of these units are priced low to sell for a higher price, maybe $399, but they're really worth $450, for example. But for the most part, almost 80% of them are actually selling below list price, 23% selling above the list price. So we're on track to have similar numbers to June up to this point, but let's take a look at what's happened since July of 2023. So if you're looking here, July of 2023, median price was at $547. If we were to just take a look, jump to today, end of June, $451. So we've seen a $100,000 decrease in that median price. Just imagine losing $100,000 in just a couple short years on a condo. This could have been your first investment, could have been your first home. You might be living in there right now trying to figure out, how do I even sell this if I want to? I've already lost $100,000, potentially your whole down payment. Now, you're not even going to be able to recoup that. Plus, you have expenses to sell it. So not a great situation for anybody who's bought a condo in the last couple of years. If you have taken the advice of a lot of people out there and bought for the long term, you're okay. This is just a, update on what it's worth. It's not a great update for you if you bought in 2023. However, It's not great. If you bought it as an investment, you're just losing money. You could have made more in any cash account. Now, one of the biggest indicators here of why the price has come down from where it is the new listings volume. You can see here, July 2023, we were seeing a little bit more inventory hit. We came to a point in December where, of course, it's Christmas, it's slower, 32 units are hitting the market. But come fast forward to today, May, June, you're at 150 listings that are kind of hitting the market here. So we're seeing this inventory just spike right up, and active listings is really where we get hit. At 117 active listings in the condo variety in July 2023. Look at today. We are at 243. We have more than doubled the amount of inventory that's available for people. And guess what? More inventory means more choice. We beat this drum every single video. If you are a buyer out there, there's so much choice that you ultimately end up paralyzed a lot of the time, because look, you have more than twice as many condos in Brampton available to choose from here, and the prices have come down $100,000. The things that might be coming into your head right now are, should I wait longer? More inventory means lower prices. You end up in this constant battle of maybe I wait, maybe I don't wait. And ultimately, looking at this here, this is the indicator on why that price has come down to where it is. And your list price is something that we want to look at here. Median list price was at $572 back in July 2023, and you're looking at only a $70,000 reduction in that list price down to today. So we've lost $100,000 on the median sale price, but the sellers have not come down at the same value. So they're just listing it a little too high at the moment, which is why we have that higher days on market. It's just not lining up with what the buyers are willing to pay in today's market. Now that we've got Brampton kind of settled here, the last thing we want to talk about is the months of inventory. Back in July, we only had 3.9 months of inventory, which is definitely still more of a seller's market. And look at now, we've got 11 months of inventory, 4 times the amount of inventory almost that's actually on the market. In terms of the months of inventory, it's going to take us a long time. That's 1 whole year's worth of inventory in condos in Brampton right now. And it's going to be a slog to kind of get rid of some of this inventory and get more balance in our real estate market. I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon. I think it's going to take a long time before we can get these scales balanced out once again. Now, Brampton, we're done for now. We'll go back there and we'll assess the 1-bedroom versus 2-bedroom. But Mississauga, when we're looking at the Mississauga numbers, remembering once again, last month, $527 was the median price. We're at $530 on 51 transactions. They had 122 last month. So we're slightly less transactions happening, just a hair higher on that median price. 34 days on market compared to the 43. A little bit quicker. Things are happening a little bit quicker, and we're actually selling, a little bit less over asking than we were last month. So more and more often we're seeing, all these condos essentially just sell for less than list price, which makes a ton of sense. If it sits on the market for your 34 days, I'm not going to pay you full price. That's just the way it's going to go. We're going to negotiate with our clients to make sure they get a great deal, and they're going to have to take into account what the market's doing today versus what they might project it's doing in a year's time. Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? So they want to make sure that they negotiate a great deal to cover for any losses that could potentially be coming. Now, that's today's numbers. July 2023, Mississauga's median sale price was $618. Today, we're at $527. So Mississauga has not taken that $100,000 hit. It has taken a $90,000 hit though. So it's taken a pretty large hit when we're comparing Mississauga to Brampton, but Mississauga, it's going to have better value than Brampton in the long term. Transaction volume in Mississauga, you can see it's taken a bit of a roller coaster here, but at this point we're down to 122 transactions, and December was 96, March was 129, so we have been hovering in this 100 to 150 for quite some time. We did see over 150 back in March of 2024 when we kind of had a spring market, but there's not a ton of transactions happening right now, and we're on pace to have a slower month of transactions. If we are going to compare it to last July, there was 136, so we're on pace to do a little bit less than that. And median list price in Mississauga, let's see if the sellers have really come down to reality here. So let's see if the sellers have kind of come back down to reality. So 648,500, they have come down to 560. So they've almost come down 90,000, just like the median sale price. That's actually pretty good. So 560 and your sale price 527. The sellers here are getting it a little bit more, or the agents are educating them a little bit better on value, what you should be listing your home at, and what the actual prices are in terms of the sale. Because a list price is just a list price. It's a fantasy. We want to price our homes based on the sale price, not the list prices in the area. They are all trying to sell their homes as well. You want to put yourself in the best optimal position to sell your property. If you want to know how to sell your property in this difficult market, I do have a video right here. More than happy to watch this one either now or after you've watched this video. I'll just pin it here, pause the video, write down a timestamp for yourself. You can come back and watch it. Now, of course, like Brampton, we're going to see some big jumps in terms of the inventory, new listings, and the months of inventory that we've got here. So new listings volume, we had 400 in July of 2023. We're looking at 552 in June of 2025. So we're seeing quite a bit more happen there. Active listings, 502 compared to 1,008. So once again, we have doubled the amount of active listings. This is where the crisis or the collapse or whatever you want to call it is worrisome. We're seeing twice as much inventory and less sales. What do we think will happen if we have less sales, more inventory? It just means prices have to come down to match the demand that's out there. Months of inventory, we were at 3.4 in July of 2023, and we have almost tripled it. We're at 8.26. So haven't seen as big a jump in the months of inventory in Mississauga. We've seen a little bit more sales happening, but we've still seen quite a big jump in the inventory that's on the market. So we've done Brampton, we've done Mississauga. This is the overall condo market. We will just take a quick peek here at the one bedroom category to give you guys a sense of what's going on between those two places. So this data here will load and give us a look at what's going on. So median in Brampton, there's only been 2 transactions, but we're at 429,000, and Mississauga, not much more, 437, and 6 transactions have taken place here. Let's take a peek at what those prices look like when we're talking median price. So 487 in July of 23, now down to 383 in June. So that is once again $100,000 drop in one bedroom condos. Mississauga looks like it might be a bigger drop on this chart, but 532 is what people were paying for a Mississauga one bedroom. And not quite. It's almost $100,000 once again. So $450,000 for a one bedroom condo. So we have seen one bedrooms come down $100,000. This is confirmation of it here. Active listings, we were looking at 18 in Brampton in July, and now we have 30 this month. So we're seeing a big jump there. Months of inventory, I mean, you already know. 36 months of inventory in Brampton from 2 months, and in Mississauga we had 3.8, and we are now down to 12. So we got a lot of excess one bedroom inventory here. The days on market obviously is going to be steep, 25 and 42. Transaction volume has come down quite a bit, and as you've seen, at one point they were working above list price, but they've just come down just right off that cliff. We're going to finish it off here with the 2 bedroom category. Let's look at what's going on. Brampton, we're at 440 for median price on 7 transactions. Mississauga, 525 on 29 transactions here. Let's look. What we want to do is just check, is that $100,000 coming off the top on all of these here? So 552 in Brampton is now 453. So pretty much $100,000 once again off of the 2 bedrooms. And let's take a peek. Mississauga, same deal, 605. And okay, so 85,000. So what we're seeing here right out the gate is both Mississauga and Brampton, you've essentially seen $100,000 come off of all condo types, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. I'm sure that's going to be the same as we look at the other categories. And we've seen a massive jump in months of inventory, in some cases 3, 4, 5x. So what you need to do if you are thinking of selling one of these condos right now, understand what the numbers are. Look at these numbers as possibilities for listing price, sale price, and utilize some of this data to really figure out what a smart listing spot is in terms of price and what a unrealistic listing price is versus the buyer side. Look at all this data and figure out where your opportunity is. I'd be looking for all these condos that are on the market for more than 35 days, more than 30 days, more than 50 days. There's going to be lots of condos that have been on the market for almost a year. If you can find these condos, you might find some sellers who are going to give you a really good deal, but you need that good deal to take into consideration that this market might keep coming down further. But if you can negotiate 50, 60, 70 off of list price, maybe it makes sense. But this is just an informative video to give you an idea of what's going on in the market. So if you live in Brampton or Mississauga, this has been a condo breakdown of those two markets and what's going on in those areas. If you're interested in learning more about how to get into the real estate market, I've got a first-time home buyer video here. This can help you. It's 26 minutes. It'll guide you through the whole first-time home buying process. But if you already own a condo and you're just trying to think about how to sell, this video right here is the perfect one for you to learn what you need to do in a difficult market right now to actually sell your condo and not just have it on the market sitting there.